All right, wonderful people. Today is the day that we're going to make some serious adjustment in the thinking. We know the Lord will make a way. Whoa, yes, he will. Wait a minute, man. Too many people are still waiting and depending on the Lord to make their spouse show the crap up. And I got some great news for all of you people that understand that it might be something different. God is not going to pick your doggone mate and spouse for you. It is on you to figure this crap out because God ain't doing a doggone thing. I'm going to show you why I said that in just a minute. It's the JoJo Hill Show. Stay here. All right, beautiful people, this is your friend and brother, Robert W. JoJo Hill, the servant, the artist, and the author. And of course, I'm in the building on the day. Yes. All right, man. The topic today has been something that people have been looking at and struggling with for a very long time. And seeing that I'm fourth generation, I've been in church. I grew up in the church, and until I found my wonderful place of freedom and liberation, and I was released for time served, I have a great understanding of what's happened inside of the context in the confines of the so-called church. All right, guys, here it is. Church people, let me tell you, let me go ahead and just release a whole lot of y'all from your struggles and stuff. God is not going to find your mate and your spouse for you. Now, ladies, I'm going to be particularly pointing this conversation towards you. You know why? Because a great portion of our women, 1 out of every 4 to 5 will ever even see marriage, let alone have a successful one. Now, and if you look at those same numbers, you see a great portion of our women that all claim to be Christian, grew up in church, and they believe, oh, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord. Okay, let me say this at the outset. There is absolutely nothing wrong with God. I want you to understand that and get it very clear in your mind. There is absolutely nothing wrong with God, but there is something wrong with niggas. I will say it again. It is nothing wrong with God, but it's something wrong with niggas. Now, I don't understand what's happened in the mindset and in the heart of our folks that's let us land in this thinking that says all we have to do is just pray and then all of a sudden this stuff is going to fix. That's not accurate. Now, let me say this to you because I'm going to use a couple things here that I know that's familiar to a great portion of us. Now, many of us that grew up in the so-called Christian community, Christian households and whatnot, we were taught and we were brainwashed into thinking one direction of thought. And that one direction of thought said that God is going to fix all of this stuff. Now, this is one of the things that I discovered concerning God. The more accurately you prepare and do what you're supposed to do, the more seemingly God works for you. Now, again, it's nothing wrong with God. Don't think about that this is nothing against the almighty, universal, all-powerful, all-holy, all-righteous God. God is fine. The problem is when we're dealing with people that has conditioned our minds to believe that God is just going to repair all the stuff. No, man, it's some stuff your behind has to do. It's a reason why a great portion of our women are single, and most of them are sitting inside the so-called church. Now, I've watched conferences that had tens of thousands of people in them. I have participated in them. I have worked on major projects across this country and across the world, and I've been very fortunate, and I've been blessed in that to that extent to see it at multiple levels. But here's the problem. When I look at the primary group of people that are adversely affected by this belief system, it is our women. Now, if we look at the bulk and the majority of our women, here's what we're going to see. We're going to see a great portion of our women who are single as crap. Their ring finger is a virgin. It ain't never had no doggone ring on it. They have multiple children by multiple dudes, all in the name of God's gonna fix it. You have to understand that there's things that you have to embrace and employ in order to get this stuff to work. God is not going to find the people for you. Let's say that most of us are locked into the so-called church world. Okay, now according to the so-called scripture, this is not my particular belief system at this point in my life anymore, but I do understand it because I've been divinely revealed this information. According to the so-called scripture, Adam is presented to Eve, right? Or Adam is presented with Eve, I should say. The scripture never says that God said, hey man, you're going to take this chick and make her your wife. God did not do that. God simply made a presentation. And then it was up to Adam after he checked out this chick. He saw what she had, saw what the crap she was. And he said, oh, okay, cool. I can rock with her because she matches my thing. And then it says that he took her and made her his wife. So this is something that happens by the choice of the men. See, what a lot of folks don't get is men are responsible for a great portion of how the relationships go. Women have a different responsibility, but in terms of the relationship, the cementing of the relationship, it comes from the dude. Now watch, if you have all of the women, I've talked about this for years, if you have a great majority of our women who are trying to better themselves and getting all the information and they're doing all the stuff that should land them in the category of being wife material, but they can never become wives. Okay, it's something off. It's something in this equation that has to be broken. If you follow my teaching for any point of time, you know that I put a great weight of responsibility on the men. So if the man is out of position, he's not going to understand what he's supposed to do in his role. So as a consequence, of course, the women aren't going to be finding marriage because women are responsible for that part. If you ask most women, do they want to be married or do they want to have husbands, blah, 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 most of them will undoubtedly say, absolutely yes. And they would like to be in that position. But here's the problem, guys. The problem becomes interesting because you don't have men who have been taught or trained how to operate in the mindset of husband. So if you don't have husband mind people, and then of course you're not going to suddenly have a bunch of wives. So here's the issue. The church world has crippled our people to make them believe that the Lord is going to fix it. That's off. Don't believe that. I'm going to listen to me. Today's show, I'm going to liberate a bunch of people today because I'm going to help y'all to understand that you do not, under any circumstances, have to keep on depending and thinking that God is going to fix it. That's a broken system of thought. God does not fix problems that he gives you the power to fix yourself. When I was overweight, I said, hey man, I'm just too freaking big. I could pray over my food. You know, the Lord is going to make this food not be fat. He's going to make this ice cream not make me a big fat ball of goo. No, I still became a big fat lardo because I didn't implement the things that's been put in position by the universal God to cause me to maintain a particular weight. So if you don't understand that you have to adjust this stuff, man, you're going to be out there all day long. You're going to keep thinking that it takes you're going to keep praying for miracles. How many times have you heard people often praying for miracles? They say, okay, the Lord's going to fix it. I'm going to go in this line. I'm going to wait for somebody to slap me with some oil and knock me the crap down in order for things to work. What I learned as it relates to my own person, for example, I had to stop eating a bunch of ice cream. I had to stop eating a bunch of cakes, cookies, and pies all the doggone time. I had to stop eating 15 packs of Snickers and Reese Cups and Twix. I had to stop doing that and then work out, get myself in order. And then all of a sudden, I didn't have to pray for weight loss. I started to experience weight loss. Now, here's the tie-in. Here's the connection. If you don't understand that your husband, your wife, is tied into your understanding of how you're supposed to be positioned, you're going to run around for a long time thinking that this stuff is going to come through some osmosis. Like all of a sudden it's going to come through some form of oh, the Lord is just going to work. This dude's just going to drop out the sky. That ain't going to happen. Y'all better knock that crap off. You better get rid of the concept of the so-called church's interpretation of how things work for you. No, it's a crippling system. I've said this for many years at this point. The so-called church, as we understand it, is a failed system of operation, because if you look at the results, all you have to do is gauge it by the results. It's a lot of people that are consistently landed in these strange and awkward positions because they keep depending on the so-called church to fix it. The so-called church is not going to fix it. It cannot. It doesn't have the power to do that, because it's a system that's teaching a disrupted method of operation. Did y'all hear what I said? It's a disrupted method of operation. So God is not picking these people and dropping them to you. If that was the case, you would have, instead of 90% of the women that go to church and stay single, you would only have 4 or 3% of people that were in church that were not married, particularly women. If you look at it, the women are the ones that's being the most adversely affected, because there's a false sense of hope that's being consistently dangled in front of them. So if you think that, oh, the Lord is going to do it, it's going to jack you up. Ladies, I'm telling you, it's going to jack you up. Here's the reason why. It's going to jack you up because you will believe any person or any man that says, oh, I'm a Christian, you drop your defense. Oh, really? Girl, he said he loved the Lord. I've heard women, I've talked to plenty of women who said, well, he was a Christian. He told me he was a Christian. Listen, man, I can stand inside of my garage all day long and call myself a doggone SUV. It doesn't make me a truck. That's off. You have to understand that there's something else going on. People will play that role. They'll play it. They'll play you to the freaking left. People will say, oh, yeah, it'll be dudes walking around doing all kind of crap. You'll walk in, they'll be sprinkling oil on themselves, talking, yumma, 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 yum, all kind of craziness to get you to drop your defenses. It's a whole lot of chicks that then got the club shot the crap up right after service. Tell me I'm off. I know it. I've seen it for years. I've watched it. I know that this is a thing. It's not on God to find that person. You have to make efforts and put yourself in positions. Now, here's one of the things that I want to share. You have to also understand, you have to position yourself, men, to be husband, and ladies, you have to position yourself to be wives. The idea of the wife dynamic, it's a way of movement. It's a way of understanding. It's a way of how you operate. How do you connect and how do you tie into a man? What's your relationship? What's that going to feel like? What's that look like? So if you're off with that, you can't sprinkle, I go to a so-called Christian church, or I'm a religious person, and you think that it's going to fix the fact that your behind is off. No, your behind is single because you won't do the things that's required to have a man to tie into you. Now, I've talked about the diamond piece for a long time. I've talked about recognizing a diamond. It's one of our trainings. I've talked about it's not on God to find your diamond or to find that thing for you. You have to do research. You have to have yourself in a particular order. You have to do things that keep you in line with real universal spiritual principles, as it were. This is not about religion. Just because you put on a choir robe does not mean that you're going to have, all of a sudden, you're going to find this dude. Y'all better stop thinking that. God is not doing that. There's nothing wrong with God. God himself is fine. The so-called religion, so-called church, all these organized foolishnesses is what's jacking people up, because it's taking your thinking down. So you're processing what's going to cause it to be successful. You're housing it all in a place that doesn't necessarily do that. Now, this is not my opinion. This is just what I've watched. This is just the facts. We have a wonderful training. I want you guys to also take a look and grab this training. We have a powerful training. I'll let you guys take a look at it here. Pull it up for us, please. It's not on God to find your diamond. It's a wonderful V-book that you guys we're offering. You can grab that if you go to the website rwjojohill.com. You can find that. And if you use the code of, what is the code? If you use the code of, I think it's NY2021, you'll get 15% off of that purchase. I think if you do anything over 100, I think is what it was. Also, we have another great training that we're offering. Let's pull up the other one too. Let's take a look at that one. No, that's not it. We don't want to do that. All right, that's the one we need. Recognizing the diamond, of course, is a powerful piece that we have. That's not the one. Has religion stopped your blessing is another great teaching that we have, that I think will be very, very effective to help us to start to understand how we have to think and move in regards to putting ourselves in a position to secure relationships, as it were. All right. Also, we can get out of that. Let's pull us out of that. All right. Check out, guys. I want you to be very aware that you have a certain degree of power. Okay, check this out. If you follow the so-called scripture, there's a text that reads, God gives you the power to get wealth. So if you understand that in the relationship, primarily, the man is the one that traditionally houses the majority of the wealth. So if God gives you the power to get wealth, ladies, this is for you specific. If God gives you the power to get wealth, that means he's giving you also a resource base within yourself to position you to where you'll be acquired by those that have the wealth. Did y'all catch it? Don't think that you can do nothing and then still get chose. This is a whole nother something, man. If you expect to get chose, you have to put yourself in a position that causes those that have wealth to choose you. So if you look at the bulk and the majority of women, I've taught this for many years, probably 14, 15 years. If you look at the majority of women, most of which would love to stay the crap at home and not have to do anything to substantiate their lifestyles once they've gotten married. It's just how it goes. It's just how you're designed. Now, of course, you're going to have some anomalies who say, well, I still like to work. I still like to do whatever I do. I get it. No problem. You got no argument out of me. Here's the difference. The vast majority of women that we have seen, from straw polls to statistics across the board, have suggested very consistently that most women, if given the choice to stay the crap at home and clean up and walk around and do the crap she do at home, or go out and work, the choice is almost hands down. You're talking 98% of the time, 99% of the time, most women say they would like to be at home. Now, here's the deal. I don't want you to get locked into the concept or the mindset that says, or the church information that says, you so strong, you can do this thing by yourself. No, you can't. You're not. No, stop it. Y'all better knock this independent crap off. I don't care what the crap Destiny's Child talks about. Oh, my women. Listen, man, y'all better get that crap out of here. You need to be interdependent. This is the way it works. Having this level of interdependence causes you to take on a posture that causes men to want to be attached to you. Now, if you don't have that, just understand you're not going to have that dynamic. It's not going to work. And I believe, watch this, I believe that the so-called church is keeping a great portion of our women single. You know why? Because if the women are single, they have no covering. They have no house band. They have nothing over them to protect. So then they can just get run amok. So, of course, you get out there, you make your own money. Oh, you know why? Because the church is going to come in and say, let me go ahead, let me get some of that. Let me go ahead and grab that loot off of you. Let me go ahead and drop that. Go ahead and give me that. Now, a lot of people ain't going to like this. And a lot of my friends and a lot of people that I have great relationships with are still into the so-called system of the so-called church. And this is just the way they operate, and this is the way they roll. And I get it. Don't have no problem with it. I just understand what it's not. I understand what it is, and I understand what it is not. Ain't nothing wrong with God. God is absolutely fine. The problem that we have is niggas. We ain't got no problem with God. Now, if I can keep you in a state of independence, the church, so-called religion, if I can keep you in a state where you're not covered, there's nothing over you, there's no house band to hold you together. You'll go out there, you work your butt off, and then you use all your money to go to these conferences, these events, and go out there and throw these people your money. Now, again, as a capitalist myself, I understand, get your money, get your loot. I understand people want to get their money. No problem. But just understand that it's not going to lead you into a place where it's just going to be some overabundance of dudes. It ain't like you going to some event and it's got 70,000 women, and then there's another equal event that's got 70,000 dudes, and they all over there just throwing relationships at each other. No, man, y'all better knock this crap off. Y'all better stop thinking that. You have to understand that it is not on God to do that. God is not going to do that. God makes presentations. He presents to you blessings and cursings according to the scripture. He presents life or death. These are the things that's before you. You have to make the wise decisions. You have to understand there may be some people that you met that was the folks you was actually supposed to be connected with, and you dropped the ball. Have you considered the fact you could have met the person and you dropped the ball because you waiting on the Lord? You could have met the dude at the gas station. You don't know, because you're thinking, if it's been shifted, if it's been tilted, you'll believe that in order for you to substantiate any type of real relationship, it's going to be all hinged and tied into what the so-called church is offering. Don't you believe that? God is not going to do that. He's not finding. God will put you in positions. He'll guide your steps. And if you listen, the universal God he doesn't break his own principles. God doesn't break a principle. So if there's a principle of health, watch. God is not going to violate his principle of health if you do everything to rip your health down. So if there's a principle called good lungs, and you keep smoking weed and Black and Milds and filling your lungs with tar and tobacco smoke and all this crap that's in there, your lungs are going to fall victim to the principles of the body versus chemicals. It's going to fall victim of that. If there is a principle in regards to health and wellness, right? God is not going to violate his own principles to accommodate these breaches. So if you, in the case of myself, you eat all this crap, all these sweets and stuff, then your body is going to be a reflection of the things that you've taken into your body. So as a consequence, it's going to change the body. So if you take those things out of the body, the principle says it's going to then cause the body to become more healthy. And then weight loss comes as a result. Does that make sense? So if you do things where you keep yourself in a very peaceful mindset, if you work on building your information base, if you study, if you read, if you prepare yourself in an area of your own creativity, for example, you get better. If you were to read one book a month in any particular area, for example, here's what would happen. In 5 years, you will be considered among the top 5% experts in the world in that area. It's just a principle. So you don't have to pray for that. You can research, you can read, and you can grow in your own thinking, right? Because God set the principles in play. What I need us to understand is we have to stop mystifying, making all this stuff so freaking mystical and spooky. No, man. God makes things very simple. It's gods that make stuff very, very, very distorted and all these twists, and you got to go through all these ceremonial things. It's not the way it works. God is a very flat-footed father. So he understands. It understands. Some people say she understands, or the power of what God is. It understands principles. So if God puts a principle in play, he's not going to violate that principle just because you went up there and got slapped in the face with some oil and somebody pushed you down. No, you're still a fool. You still argue a lot. So a man is not going to want to be bothered with you. No, you still live in your mama's basement and you eat cereal every day while you play PlayStation. God is not going to violate that. You're not going to drop one of his best junks to you. That's not real. Get out of that thinking. If you don't get out of that thinking, y'all behind's going to be lonely as crap. And it's not, and you keep saying, well, I'm waiting on the Lord. I know somebody talking about, oh, I'm waiting on the Lord to do it. The waiting on the Lord. Man, listen, single, 45 years, 50 years. These people are dying well into their 70s, late 60s, by their freaking self. And all their holiness and all they slapping people with oil and all this stuff, it doesn't mean anything. No, it's not good. That's abnormal. That's an abnormal movement. You have to do things that make you attractive to the opposite. So God is not going to find that for you. So if you keep thinking that, you might as well stop. That's not going to work. See some of my folks on here. Let me see. My boy Dr. Reed said something here. Dr. Reed, what you saying to me, man? What's up, Carl Reed? That's my friend and my brother, man. What's up, Reed? I love you so much, brother. Dr. Reed, something. Who else did I see on here? Let me see what time. Tamara said, niggas took me out the game. Absolutely. Now, listen, man, I want you guys to participate in some of these trainings. Now, I have some very powerful pieces here that I know will be effective, and I know they'll help you. We have one training special. Is that special still up? Okay, listen, guys. Listen, let me pull this. We're gonna pull this thing up. We have a very powerful piece called "How to Monetize Your Creativity," and I'm gonna show you guys this because I want you guys to. I want us to start thinking a little bit different. Creativity is a way you think. Now, let's say, for example, you're somebody who has a very interesting way of processing. Your creativity is what you need to do to start turning these things around in your head. Because God, here's one of the things that God has given us. God gives us the same abilities that he has. God is a creator. So if God is a creator and he is a creative, right? Here's how we can begin to move. As you understand what you are, hear this, guys. As you understand what you are, you will begin to see how you use what you have in order to go where you need to go. Now, this particular training that we're featuring, How to Monetize Your Creativity, we have a wonderful discount code for this one as well. I think it's $70 off of this training, How to Monetize Your Creativity. Listen, guys, get over there, RW Jojo Hill, and grab that training. It's $70 off of that. I think it comes out to be $177 for that training. That's nothing. This is a lot less than what you're dropping going to these conventions and conferences, paying another $50 a day to eat, $137 a day, and then you got to give a $10,000 line and a $5,000 line. And hey, man, again, whatever someone's hustle is, that's your hustle. I get it. Do whatever the crap you want. But I understand some things that happen and works a little bit different. I want us to begin to use what we have that God has given us. God has given us creativity, and God has given us the ability to get wealth. That's an ability that we have based upon what God has given to us. So watch this. When you're functioning inside of what you are and what you're supposed to do, you have no rivals. One of the pieces that we talked about in this training is you have to understand why your creative gifts are not for free, why you just don't give it away. Now, this thinking, it ties in very closely to how you look at things in regards to your dating. How do you do things in regards to who do you give your time to, right? Because if you have a creative heart, if you have a creative mind, that means you value what you do. Whatever God is giving you, you value that thing and you use it. So you first understand you don't give away for free what you can sell. You don't do that. Listen, man, you don't give away what you can sell, ladies and gentlemen. This is not how this works. You have to do what comes naturally to you. You have to do the things that come naturally to you. Use the promo code of Believe 2021. You'll get $70 off of this master training, and only for this one exclusively. This is a very, 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 very powerful piece that I want you guys to participate in. Now, listen, man, I don't want us to think after all these years that we can continue down the same path and get different results. If you want a different result, you have to understand that it requires a different set of things. If you want a different result, it requires a different set of things. You can't keep believing that it's on God to make these adjustments for you. God puts principles in place. I need you to understand that. God puts principles in place, and those principles, he's not going to violate them. He's not going to change them. What he will do is accommodate when he sees the principles in action. So here's a very common scripture from the so-called Bible that a lot of people like to quote and talk about when it comes down to potential wife, husband, marriage. Quite often we hear he who finds a wife finds a good thing. And this is the thinking where it should land if you're going to follow this belief system specific. It says that he finds a wife. Here's what that means. I've taught about this. I don't know. I was teaching about this at CTEC in 2006. When it talks about a wife being found, that means that the person has already the attributes of wife. So if she has attributes of wife, he who finds wife, watch this, he's already finding wife. Now, here's the problem. This culture says to us, you don't have to be wife. You can just be something else and think that someone's going to find you and make you wife. Do you understand that? This is a very, 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 it's a completely interesting way of thinking. You can't think that you're going to be anti-wife and then get husband. It's not the way it works. This culture has taught our women to think that they have to be strong more than they are in a position of wisdom. No, wisdom is the principal piece. Wisdom is the dynamic and the route. If you function in wisdom, ladies, it's very easy for you to secure a husband because you understand what's needed by you in order to secure a husband. Do you follow this? You can't think that you can just use up all of your stuff in the most random ways, and that means your vagina, that means your body, that means your face portal, that means all of these things that you just use to crap up and think that it's not going to have a consequence later when you've just used that crap the heck up and then think you're going to come into the church, sprinkle some missionary juice on your forehead, and then all of a sudden you're going to get good man. That's not real. But what will happen if you think that that's the solution, you'll get stuck in that cycle and you'll be there for 50 years. And after 50 years, you'll still be by yourself, or you'll get involved with a fool, a complete and utter fool. There'll be fool. Listen to me, man. Y'all do know that it's a lot of fools inside the church. Now, people say, well, it's fools everywhere. I ain't talking about that. We already established that. We know that. I'm talking about people that think they can go into these environments and they think they're going to extract the best, but they're not in a position of thinking that you have to be in the arena of best. This is very, very, very powerful information. You have to understand. You have to use what God is giving you, but you have to maximize what God is giving you at the same time. That's what we talked about in this training. R.W. Jojo Hill. Make sure you guys go there. Grab this, how to monetize your creativity. That's going to be one very powerful piece. And there's another piece that we have there. Is God is not going to find your diamond for you. God does not go digging through. He don't. Well, God looked over the balconies of heaven and he went down and he picked out a precious stone. Shut the crap. No. God is a God of order and principle. So anything that's out of order is not God. Anything that's out of principle is not God. It's very simple. The dynamics are very, very, very simple. If you understand it from this position of thought, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you it will cause things to change in your life. You can very effectively adjust how you move. Very, very, very effectively. Pull up the other training. Yeah, pull up that one. It's another very powerful training that we have. You can predict your own future if you plan for it. Now, and here it is. Can we share it? Just share it over there, please. Okay. You can predict your own future if you plan for it. But you say, Jojo, well, how do we do that? Your future is predictable, ladies. Your future, gentlemen, is predictable. You can, in fact, predict it if you plan for it. But how do you plan for it? So I said, okay, it's something that I said. I said, okay, I want to. It's a certain way I want my clothes to fit this summer. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to plan for that. So I'm going to predict my own future for the summer. I'm going to predict my own future for the fall. So I'm going to do things based upon my plan that will accommodate this predictable future. Do y'all see this? Now, so Jojo, what in the ham and cheese does that have to do with how we function in regards to relationships? Okay, it's the same way. If you expect to be wife, you have to plan to be wife. If you expect to be husband, gentlemen, you have to plan to be husband. Does this make sense? God gives us very specific power and ability. He gives us very specific power and ability. If we engage the power and abilities that he's given us, then it makes things very, very, very simple. So how does that work out, Jojo? How do you do that? So if God has given us the power to get wealth, he also gives us the power to plan. According to so-called scripture, let's go to Jeremiah 29. Of course, I know the plans and the thoughts that I have for you. I know the thoughts that I have concerning you. In other words, according to the so-called scripture, it says God already understands. He has a plan for you. Now watch this. How do you expect to function in anything of God, for example, without a plan? If you don't have a plan and God has one, then you're already off. Even God has a plan. So if you expect to, listen to me, guys, if you expect to land in successful relationships, you have to understand how you operate inside of this plan that God has. So if God has a plan that says you're supposed to be this, but you won't do any other things according to the plan, then you can't expect to get the results. So how are you going to survive without a plan if God himself has one? If God has a plan, but you don't, how do you expect to even function? Get the crap out of here. And you can't expect that you're going to come back and just, go to church because I go to church or because I'm religious that it's going to fix it. Man, y'all better knock this crap off. Man, I got the greatest sense of happiness, joy, and glee when I got out of that thinking. All of a sudden, stuff got easier. So I started embracing and pushing the power of the plan, the power of understanding that God has already given us principles in place. We don't got to do nothing but engage the principles. You can very successfully, gentlemen, you can very easily find a wife if you're functioning inside the principles of what it takes to acquire a wife. Make sure your crap is together. Make sure your credit is cool. Make sure your loot is where it needs to be. You can provide, you can protect, you can provide security and safety. Then all of a sudden, you just become a whole lot more attractive to women. But if you're a flim-flammer and you always in and out, you don't have any definitive way of moving. Everything is just fly by the seat of your pants. Man, you don't even qualify for a wife. In the same way, a lot of women don't qualify for husbands. You don't do any of the things that would make you appealing to a man to wife you. If you don't do any of the things that makes you appealing to a man to wife you, then a man is not going to wife you. The principles are very, very, very simple. You can't have the energy of a dude and think that you're going to get a dude to wife you. No, some of you too freaking masculine. Some of y'all act like dudes. And then a lot of the dudes act like chicks. They have a feminine energy that's backwards. Everything is reversed. But remember, guys, I told you guys this years ago. I've been talking about this for many, 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 many years. You cannot have a culture that embraces everything that's fake as normal and think it's not going to negatively affect that culture. It's going to affect the culture. There's no question about it. It ain't no discussion. This is not up for discussion no more. The day of discussion is over. You cannot have a culture that embraces everything that's fake as normal and think it's not going to affect that culture. So if you have women who act like men, if you have men who act like women, and then that's widely being accepted, no wonder you're not finding mates, because everybody's out of position. Everybody's out of freaking place, man. Everybody's out of order. If it's out of order, it can't possibly be of God, because God is a God of order. And I ain't talking about church and I ain't talking about religion. Bump that. I'm talking about God. I'm talking about the real, straight up, universal, all-powerful God. God has things in order. You got winter, spring, summer, fall, and it keeps happening like that. Monday comes after Tuesday, and every single week, and God sends a week every week. February is going to follow January. It's just what happens. You ain't going to have February, then it's June. Don't happen. So if you are willing to embrace and employ the principles of husband, the principles of wife, God don't have to touch it, because he's already established the order of the principles. You see? God don't have to do that. He's not touching it. So a lot of us are still waiting for this so-called miracle thing to happen, or this mystical blah, blah, blah. No, man, that's completely off. That's way off base. That's why it don't happen. That's why you can look at the people. All you have to do is gauge it by the results. Look at the results. You have people that keep embracing this belief system, and they keep thinking that it's going to cause things to change, but it won't change. And we keep wondering why. We're like, what the crap is going on? Why won't it change? It won't change because it's violating the principles. The principles, it just doesn't work. If I go outside and I hit the breaker on my breaker box, if I pull that master switch down, all the power in the house is going out. Boom, it's just dropping out. Because that's the principle. It's all built. The system is built on principles. This breaker is tied into this box, and this box is tied into this outlet. This outlet is tied to this switch. It's principles. So, ladies, if you're interested in husband, what principles are you either embracing and employing, or which principles are you violating? If you're violating a particular set of principles, you're not going to find a husband. And you can't go in there and think that you're going to sprinkle a Usher black bottom and white top and think that it's going to automatically drop you back into the category of wife. No. You can't shout in a circle and go give $15 and think that it's going to cause that thing to turn on if you're not doing the thing that causes it to turn on. It's a principle. If you don't understand the principle, it's not going to work. God is not finding your diamond for you. It's not on God to do that. God is not going to find your diamond. Make sure you guys go to rwjojohill.com and grab that training as well. You guys will really, really, really benefit from that. Very, very, very powerful, powerful, powerful piece. It's not on God to find your diamond. That's what it looks like. Thank you so much. That's what it looks like. It's only $57. Go over there and do that. And you can use the coupon code of NY2021. I believe you'll get 15% off all purchases of $100 more. And you guys can participate in that as well. Recognizing the diamond, of course, is a great piece that we've had for one of our flagship trainings here. And you guys can feel free to grab that one as well. I think you can use a discount. You get a discount code with that one as well. Recognizing the diamond. Let's see that one. I see it there. Okay, good. I'm going to top. Let's grab that one. Another very, very powerful training that we offer. And I think that it would definitely benefit all those that take a look at this, because you have to understand, how do you begin to see it? How do you recognize husband versus wife? It's got to be a method. It has to be some way. When I first saw my wife, I knew exactly who she was when I saw her. I'll say, oh man, that chick right there, that's her. I'm marrying that girl right there. That's her. I'm telling you stuff that happened to me from experience. I ain't talking about some crap where I'm just pie in the sky. I'm 25 years in the game, and same woman, ain't never been divorced, separated, none of that crap. I'm saying to you what I know based upon experience. It's a way that you can begin to engage this. And what I did, I decided to take these experiences and these life lessons, and I've put them together, and I offer them to the world across the board. And I'm very grateful that a lot of you guys participate, and you guys have participated in the trainings, and you grab them and whatnot. And I'm very grateful for that. But I can say to you with a particular degree of certainty that based upon the results, I can say what I say. The results give me this confidence to say what I say. And I can say to you very specifically, it's not on God. God is not going to do that. God simply makes presentations. So if you have a presentation of somebody that is in fact a diamond, as it were, a lot of people today are calling it things like high value this and high value that. I've heard it, and a lot of those people have followed my content for many years, and I'm flattered. But here's the deal. If you don't understand how to recognize this, right? If you can't recognize it when you see it, it won't matter that you come across it. It won't matter that you come across a great dude if you don't recognize what a great dude looks like. It doesn't matter that you come across a great woman when you can't recognize what a great woman has in terms of attributes. You'll think that just because she had a big butt and some big titties that makes her a great woman. No, it don't. She can be a big butt, big tittied fool. This is just the fact. Just at the same time, you can have a 6'3" muscle bound six pack all the way Johnson down to his kneecaps idiot. And it doesn't make him husband. It doesn't mean that the thing is going to work. So you have to be able to recognize the differences. That's why I did the training recognizing the diamond. How do you begin to do that? Make sure you guys go over to rwjojohill.com and participate in that. Now, a lot of you guys have also asked about wanting to make donations and things like that and support the channel. Please feel free to do that. You can go to the what is that thing called? You can go to Cash App, RW Jojo Hills, the Cash App. You got a $ RW Jojo Hill, which is the Cash App piece. And then, of course, the PayPal is servantrwh@gmail.com. Feel free to go there and make donations and support. We don't mind what you do. We are going to accept the donation 100%. Because, again, you don't give away what you can sell. If you're good at something, you don't do it for free. You monetize your creativity. This is how you begin to do that. That's why I think that other training is going to be so important for us, particularly moving into 2021, because a lot of people have had to make adjustments. We're going to be doing a training. Actually, no, we're going to be doing another show this week talking about that. How do you begin to use that creativity, using what you have? A lot of times people don't use what they have. They try to be something else. And this is, again, this all ties in. All of my teachings, all of my trainings have been divinely guided to all tie together. Example, if we have our women, notice what I said here when I talked about this creativity, using what you have, using what you are. In other words, you don't have to try to be something else in order to achieve. You have to just be what you are. Check this out. We have a great portion of our women who are not embracing their true selves, but they present fake to men and expect the men to be real. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You have to embrace what you are. Use what you got. If your hair is that long, let it be that long. Fix that junk up. I saw an artist this week, incredible singer, and I've been seeing her for, I don't know, many years. And I'm like, golly, why does this girl keep doing this to herself? Why does she keep doing this to herself? She has all this extra stuff on. And then I saw her last week, and she had taken all the extra stuff off. And she had just had her hair fixed the way it was. It wasn't super long. It was kind of, the Anita Baker length kind of thing. And she looked like a completely different human being, and she was absolutely beautiful. I said, that's who you need to be. Because here's a newsflash for you, ladies. Ladies, I'm going to tell you guys this. I've said it for years. Men that are interested in wifing up women, they love the genuine you. I'm going to say that, and I'm going to put it right there. You do with that information what you want. Ladies, men who are husband-minded men, they love the genuine you much more than they love the fake you. Now, a lot of you are going to say, well, I mean, it's a lot of people just do it. I just switching it up. Listen, brother, listen, sis, do what you want. I'm telling you that as a man, I've taken the straw polls. We've done the stats, and we've done it for years. Men love the genuine you. Now, if you want to continue to be fake, you understand you're statistically altering your possible results. You're changing it, hands down. That's like you got a dude he looks good, but he lived under a bridge. All of a sudden, no matter how good he looked, women aren't interested in him no more. You're not gonna say, well, I mean, he's still cute. No, you ain't. You ain't gonna say that. Because women have a default setting and men have default setting. And I'm telling you, our default setting is that we love this one. Now, you do whatever you want, but just understand and just look at the results. Look at the results of all the people that consistently maintain the fake. Look at their results. I'm talking about from a group perspective. Now, if you don't understand that, you'll think that you'll have to keep trying to be something that you're not in order to secure people, but that's not going to secure them. That's not the way it works. It doesn't fit like that. So when I talk about monetizing your creativity. When I talk about recognizing the diamond, when I talk about these things, what's the tie together, Jojo? What's the tie-in? The tie-in is that you have to be able to recognize the differences. Wisdom is simply the ability to recognize differences. But if you don't have wisdom, you won't ever be able to recognize the difference. That's why you'll get dudes that say things like, "With me, I don't really care what she do to dude." That means that dude has been taught by someone who was not a diamond broker, as I call it in the book. A person that's a diamond broker and a diamond person that recognizes things that have high value and high worth, they teach others how to recognize the difference. I teach my sons, man, hey man, hold on, dude. No, you don't get involved with a chick like that. That chick is a fool. Look at her, man. She don't have enough sense to not do thus and so. So what do you think she's gonna do to your daughter if you have a daughter with this girl? What kind of information do you think she's going to give to your son? What is she going to put into the thinking of your children? So you have to say, hey, wait, hold on, man. I can't get involved with no chick like that. That chick is off. If she's off, you can't be involved with her, but you have to be able to recognize the difference. What makes this chick different from the other? How do you begin to adjust that? Do you understand? This is a very, 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 very powerful understanding, very powerful teaching and training. The Recognizing the Diamond series or that training is the book. We've already finished the book. The book is in edits, and it's tough, man. This stuff is woo, man. This book it's a powerful piece, man. It's about 200 pages of a book. And Recognizing the Diamond is incredible. I can't wait for you guys to get it. We're going to release it. We're going to have a big release for it and everything. And for the folks that want to pre-order it, we'll have that available in the next coming months after we get everything secure. But the book is in fact done. I mean, all the tie bending stuff is done. And that thing was serious, brother. Serious. Make sure you guys support rwjojohill.com. Make sure you guys do that. If you guys have any questions, I would love to see them, well, to hear them. Dr. Stancil said you got something coming out this weekend. What's up, Stancil, man? Good to see you, brother. That's my good friend. Make sure you guys follow him. KJ Stancil is one of my good friends. Brilliant guy, brilliant guy, brilliant musical mind, and a brilliant person. Just a brilliant guy. Let me see what else we got here. Let's put up some others. Can we put up some of the other ones? Okay. Frank Joseph Daniel says, please pray for energy and strength and focus for me at work today. Also for encouragement and uplifting my girlfriend and I, in Jesus' name. All right, Frank, we're gonna keep you guys lifted. We're gonna pray the divine universal God gives you exactly what you need in terms of your strength and your focus. And we know that your girlfriend's gonna do well, and she'll be encouraged as you encourage and strengthen her. My boy Stancil, this is my bro Stancil. Yeah, man, good guys, good dude. All right, guys, listen, I want you guys to go over to the website rwjojohill.com and support and grab some of this incredible content. We didn't want to put this stuff together and not have it become and make it available, not have it available to you all. It's there. So please make sure, please, ma'am, and please, sir, do that. rwjojohill.com. For those of you that would love to make donations, go to rwjojohill. That's the Cash App sign, $ rwjojohill. And the PayPal is servant rwh@gmail.com. All right. And as they used to say, if all hearts and minds are clear. All right, man. I love you guys. Listen, don't y'all go by this thinking that God is going to find these people for you. He ain't. If you want to see, you can ask God for wisdom, and that wisdom will give you the ability to tell who's the fool and who's not the fool. God will give you that, but God ain't gonna be like, go get her. No. Y'all better stop that. Now, some people say, well, God gave God. Okay. But God doesn't pick your people. God could have showed it to you, but if you was a fool and you couldn't recognize who it was, you still would have left the girl where she was. You still would have left the guy where he was if you did not understand that. So because you have this wisdom, the wisdom is the principal thing. Think about the information. If you have the wisdom, you have the principle of occupying and getting that piece. because you know the difference. Because wisdom is what? Wisdom is simply the difference, the ability to tell the difference from one person to the next. The ability, wisdom, a person that's wise in music can tell the difference between one type of change versus another. A person that has wisdom in decorating, they can tell that this color works better than that color. That's wisdom. And when you have this type of wisdom that is universally given from the universal God, that wisdom allows you to see who's who when you're presented with people. You can go out on 100 dates and all of them can be a fool. It don't mean that, well, I got all these people who want to marry me. No, that's not necessarily true, because it may be one that's actually there to marry you. But if you can't tell the difference, you'll walk right away from them. All right. This is your friend and brother, Robert W. JoJo Hill, the servant, the artist, and the author. I want you guys to be encouraged, be empowered, and most of all, guys, please say it with me, man. Be enlightened. The servant has spoken. And I'm out this mother.